Hi, I'm Poonam Sharma, and welcome to NSO TV. This is the first in a series of video series that we'll be bringing to you. Today, we are at the RNAO Home Office interviewing Doris Greenspan, who is the Executive Director of the RNAO since 1996. We're very pleased to have the opportunity to speak with her today. Hi Doris, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Great, thank you for meeting with us today.
Thank you.
Doris, can you tell us a little bit about how you became involved with the RNAO and how this journey has been for you?
That's an interesting question. It all started when in 1996 I was working at the Mount Sinai Hospital as a director of nursing, and things were getting very rough in this province with the then Premier Mike Harris. And I received a call from several nurse leaders saying, we need you there. And I decided then that there was enough of a big problem in the province that they needed a person with not only the necessary knowledge, but the courage to put values into action and to speak out to speak truth to power. And I decided that was a challenge worth taking. And
some of the questions that nursing students have had, there's a lot of confusion with the role of RNs and RPNs. Now they have different schooling, but we find often in placements we're doing the same scope of practice. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that the confusion is at the workplace. It's not really in the minds of students. I think both RNs and RPNs know perfectly well the scope of their competencies and the type of patients that they each should be attending to. The problem becomes when in workplaces they try to balance the books on the backs of basically who can do the work at the lowest price. And that's not fair, not for RPNs and not for RNs. It diminishes RPNs to simply being a less costly employee, and RNs to being in a more supervisory role sometimes, when really what patients need is the right provider at the right time in the right place and in the context of continuity of care provision. So in my view, it's pretty simple. RNs need to be providing the totality of patient care, comprehensive caring, which for me is both the cognitive, the emotional, and the physical care for people that have complex needs and unpredictable outcomes. And RPNs are also supposed to provide the totality of care and not just a portion of patient care, and to do that for patients that are stable and with predictable outcomes. And I often say that any patient that is in between needs to remain in the hands and in the cognitive capacity of an RN, simply because if not, you will be moving patients back and forth between RN and RPN, and that's not okay or good for the patient. And I also do not support, RNAO does not support models of care delivery that result in fragmented care. And fragmented care means when a patient care needs is divided into pieces, as if it was a object, right? And the RN is provided to do some pieces, the RPN, some other pieces, and the unregulated worker, other pieces of the same patient. No one has the full picture of the patient because no one can have the full picture of the patient. And no one has role satisfaction because the RN doesn't have role satisfaction of not seeing the entire care process. And the RPN doesn't have it either. And to be quite frankly, that's unfair both for RNs and RPNs. So we need to push together RNs and RPNs for employers to be strategic in what they do with models of care delivery and enable patients to receive total patient care either from an RN or from an RPN, and enable that patient to enjoy the continuity of care and caregiver, as well as enable the RN and the RPN to enjoy the continuity of care of caregiver for the appropriate patients each.
Now, speaking about employment, the new grad guarantee program has been amazing, and I know students are very happy, the new grads, to be able to take advantage of this program. Yes. But some students are concerned. How can we ensure that this program will be around for all our new graduates and for many years to come?
Well, that's actually a very good segue into RNAO.
Yes.
And why students, and I am extremely proud of being with you, Poonam, and being with all of your colleagues and with NSO, because this is your profession, really, right? You know, I don't shy away of saying that I am a late career nurse, and many nurses are late career nurses. And you give me 5, 10, 15 years, whatever it will be, I will be watching you guys. So it's for students from year 1 and onwards to join RNAO and to give again voice to the profession and continue to speak truth to power, because always it will be needed. I have no doubt that as long as some of us will be here, the new grads guarantee will continue, both because it's necessary and also because it's the right thing to do. We cannot say, politicians or employers cannot say from in one hand we are short staff and on the other, right?
Yeah.
But new grad guarantee, it's not sufficient. We need to ensure that employers open the doors for new grads to have exciting careers and full-time employment, and not the type of piecemeal employment that we saw some years ago, when a new grad really all she or he could have was part-time or casual, and they ended up with 2, 3, sometimes even 4 employers, and that results also in a fragmented career for the nurse. Right. And a fragmented patient care for the people that we serve, because that RN or RPN for that matter is going to different employers every day. Patients cannot get good care from that. So be assured that the new grad guarantee will continue, but we need the strength of the voice of everybody together to ensure that the doors to full-time employment continue to be open for new grads and for any other nurse who wishes to work full-time. And we have made huge gains, right? Like if you look at the numbers, when we first started at RNAO to speak about the issue of full-time employment in 2000, this was during the years of the hula hoop era of Premier Harris. We actually were at 50% full-time employment, and even a touch less than that, and the rest was all casual part-time. We had 18% of nurses, 18% working for multiple employers. That means 18% of nurses were working for 2, 3, or 4 employers. So you can imagine how frustrating it was for the nurses, but also how really negative in consequences that was for patients. And we now are at 64.7 full-time employment, so that's a huge gain. And yes, it is the strength of RNAO and the nursing collective, but the strength comes from people like you, right? The strength comes from students and from new grads and from mid-career nurses and late-career nurses, all of us speaking in one voice, going in the same direction, and making sure that the rest, including politicians, follow through.